What's up, you guys? Chet the Dream Poet here. Yes, we are officially back in the state of Florida. I had a fun outing with my family over Christmas break, but now I am back in my home base here in Florida. And today, you guys, we're in the old city, and this is what we're going to do. We are going to check out the Potter's Wax Museum. But first, we are going to try Burger Buckets. Yes, Burger Buckets has been around since like 2013. I hear they have really, really good food. I forgot what they're known for exactly. But let's get in there. Let's see what they got on the menu. I'm hungry. And still St. Augustine. Oh. And still, they're unaffected at the ending of the Christmas season. Let's go inside. This is what I was talking about. Yes, they call it the Kick the Bucket Burger Challenge. It's about a $34 burger. But today, we're not going to eat a $34 burger. Might do it in the future though. I am going to get, is this beaut? Yes, that is a chili cheese dog. I went with something that really, it was in my price range. They had a lot of good stuff though. Now let's see if I can pick it up without.
No, I can eat. That's all yours.
That is an amazing hot dog. Actually, that's really good. It is amazing. Oh. Yes. That was amazing. That was a good chili cheese dog. Although, you know what? Maybe I could have been hungry enough to eat a $34 hamburger. Something, well, no, that's still a lot of meat. Maybe for the future. But anyway, you guys, let's get on to the Potter's Wax Museum. And before we get in there, fun fact, the Potter's Wax Museum is in the old drugstore from 1886, which is interesting. Apparently this is a lone surviving building from the area that has managed to survive. Huh. That is very interesting. But at least we don't forget a face mask. So what I was being told by the tour guide is that this museum was founded by George L. Potter, and this, everyone, is the oldest wax museum in the United States, which was formed in 1949. And as well, just for some time, or just for the head alone to make one of these, it takes anywhere about from about 3 to 4 months. And they actually use human hair. Now for the entire body that we'll be seeing today, it takes upwards of 8 months, sometimes a year. So let's get in there. The first figure we have today is none other than Henry Flagler, the visionary, the businessman behind it all, who put St. Augustine on the map. Now, another cool thing to add about the Potter Wax Museum is that a majority of these figures are historical figures. Henry L. Potter, when he created this museum, he wanted to not only entertain the public, but he wanted to include the history behind it all. Historical figures, what have you. So, I want to stop talking. We're going to look around. I have a dream. And as of the filming of this vlog for today, it is Martin Luther King Day. So I thought I'd give him a special spot during this video. So let's go check out the presidents. Well, from left to right in this display, first we have Andrew Jackson, Abraham Lincoln and his wife, Teddy Roosevelt, my favorite president, Lyndon B. Johnson, good old JFK, FDR. I'm sorry, it just feels weird. He's looking at me, kind of cockeyed. Then we got Henry Truman and his wife, Nixon, the Watergate president. No, wait, is that? I think that's FDR. I think. Perhaps. Oh well. And George W. I'm George W. Bush. Then on the right, we have our founding fathers. I believe George Washington is in the back. John Adams is right next to him. Alexander Hamilton in the middle. And Benjamin Franklin. Fun fact, Benjamin Franklin, the founding fathers would not let him write the Constitution because they feared he would put in a joke. And that is not some lie, BS, historical myth. That is a true historical fact. Fun fact. I did not realize how tall Sam Houston was in wax. The Cherokee didn't like this guy. They called him a drunk. And here we have Florence Nightingale. She was an English reformer. And then we had Mary Curie. She was a Polish physicist and chemist. Huh. Interesting. And of course, Louis Pasteur. He was the French chemist who created the vaccine for anthrax and rabies. Yeah, he's the guy who created the shot that you get in the stomach. Not fun. Not fun at all. Huh. What Greek woman became an Egyptian queen at the age of 17? I'll go for Cleopatra. What do you know? I was right. Now let's check out the Wild West. I like Buffalo Bill's hat. Annie Oakley. You know what? She was kind of pretty. And it looks like he had a little bit of alcohol. Looks like he finished his alcohol too. And here's somebody that's well known in my home state. Davy Crockett. He was a folk hero, politician, frontiersman, soldier, and member of the U.S. House of Representatives. He also died at the Alamo. Remember the Alamo, as my elementary school teachers taught me. And this is what I learned in Jacksonville when you run out of money. Hey, give me all your money. Actually, that was kind of a bad joke. I shouldn't have told that one. Here we have Will Rogers, just staring off in the middle of nowhere. So, I think that makes it for the Wild West. Let's check out the celebrities. But before we do, we don't want to forget you, Daniel Boone. You were the one who helped out with Kentucky. Yes. Hey, Voldemort. Got your nose. Or, wait, I got another one. Hey, Voldemort, why don't you stop being so nosy about everything? I would rub his nose in it, but he don't got none. Okay, aside from the jokes, we have Tiger Woods. That is a man whose career went down the drain, and he brought it back. I like you, Tiger Woods. And here's Harry Potter. I don't know about you, but I don't know, he looks a little fake. And we got little Dobby. And keep on trying and creep on dying. That's probably not a good Sylvester Stallone accent, quote, what do you want to call it? And then we have Anna Jolie with Maleficent? I think that's Maleficent. And now let's look into some of mankind's greatest achievers. We will start out with George Washington Carver. He had 1,000 products derived from peanuts, which includes cosmetics, dyes, paints, plastics, and gasoline. I did not know about the gasoline. And we have Alexander Graham Bell, Charles Darwin. A lot of people don't like him, but he did have a lot of good points, though. Very big scientific genius. And Galileo. Also, the Catholic Church, they didn't like him with his physics. And then we have Thomas Alva Edison, which without him, this place would be completely dark. Or burned down because everybody would still be using candles. And here we have Henry Ford. Well, of course, without him, well, I would have had to walk down to St. Augustine or taken a horse. Yes, he's the one who found it or created the truck. And then we have Wilbur Wright. Wilbur Wright was one of the Wright brothers, and he, well, of course, created the airplane. And Albert Einstein. Because of him, we have an atomic bomb. So, I think we are going to check out some musical geniuses throughout time. Like you, Britney Spears. Boom, 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 boom. Actually, completely useless information. Britney Spears was one of my childhood crushes. That's probably how I turned out the way I am. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? We have Stephen Foster from 1826, and he died in 1864. Claude Debussy. He kind of, is it just me, or he kind of looks like a Jonas brother who kind of gave up on life. And then we have this genius, Johann Sebastian Bach. He was from the Baroque era, because no one had money back then. Is it just me? Wilhelm Wagner. Look how short he was in real life. That's shorter than Dolly Parton short. Just like Chopin. Really, really short. I wonder if people thought very little of him. Or his charisma was in short supply. I gotta quit. And a fun fruit for thought is that Ray Charles, he lived, well, I should say, he was a Florida resident. If nobody didn't know. Yes, he lived in Lee, Florida, a very small town. Not far from Lake City. And I didn't know he died of liver disease. That's totally new. What English king had 6 wives? King Henry VIII. Ah, got it. And this is Jefferson Davis. He was the man behind the Confederate States of America. And here we have George Frederick Handel. I guess he really couldn't handle life that well. Hey, Mr. Handel, how are you handling life right now? And this display right here, well, is all the major players during the Civil War, both for the Confederacy and the Union. Like General Lee, of course. and General Grant. Or is this General Grant? And here we will go with a few of St. Augustine's more well-known peoples. Sir Francis Drake, James Oglethorpe, the founder and governor of the colony of Georgia. He tried taking over St. Augustine one time, and that didn't go that well. And of course we have the Spanish admiral and explorer Pedro Menendez, the founder of St. Augustine. And Juan Ponce de Leon, the conquistador, Spanish explorer, and the first governor of Puerto Rico. He's got armor, but I bet he has no heart. You know, like the Tin Man from oh God, I gotta stop. What American pastor became the inspiring civil rights leader and gave the now famous speech titled "I Have a Dream"? Martin Luther King Jr. Of course. Which female American sharpshooter started in Buffalo Bill's Wild West show? I saw her back in the Wild West part of the display exhibit. Yes, it was Annie Oakley. What Roman general is credited with laying the foundation for the Roman Empire? Caesar? I'm getting good at this. German-born Jewish physicist. I saw him. Shoot. He was one of my favorites, but I can't. Yes, Einstein. That's what I'm trying to say. And least we not forget the great Seminole chief, Osceola. The man was a genius. He was a great Native American chief. And sadly, well, he's still at unrest because some doctor cut off his head and his body is buried in South Carolina. That's not good. And who is it? Huh. That doesn't look like Johnny Depp. Don't really know who this looks like. Val Kilmer. Why does that name sound familiar? And this guy right here. Okay, I can kind of see Bruce Lee. These guys are evil. And these guys are the good guys. And we have Franklin Delano Roosevelt smoking himself a stogie. And he's going to kick this guy's butt. If y'all don't know, that's Adolf Hitler. Now, George Patton, he was famous for conquering the Pacific. And Douglas, no wait, that was Douglas MacArthur who conquered the Pacific. My bad. Bernard Montgomery. Of course, we've already gone over you, FDR. And Charles de Gaulle. And the other one of my heroes from the WW2 era, Winston Churchill. Churchill told this guy to suck his big toe. You know, Francis Mary Farquet, again, he's very short in stature. In a way, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Gollum. You know, like from Lord of the Rings, but still, that I should seriously stop. But right here we have the greatest literary mind who ever lived, William Shakespeare. John Milton. Well, wait, where are you, John Milton? Oh, there you are, John Milton. John Milton created the famous work Paradise Lost. And Hans Andersen, he was the one known for writing The Little Mermaid. He's hiding in the corner. And everybody knows this man right here, Samuel Clemens, otherwise known as Mark Twain. He wrote one of my all-time favorite stories, Huck Finn. And of course, Ernest Hemingway. Yet another man who was a hero of mine. And while Tom Sawyer looks up there epically, I have another one. What English author wrote Oliver Twist and Great Expectations? That one I don't know. Oh, duh. You know what? And let's give Rudyard Kipling some love. He's the one who wrote The Jungle Book. And everybody should know this man. Walt Disney. Born December 5th, 1901. And some say his body is cryogenically frozen till he can be brought back. That's just an urban legend, so yeah. Who was awarded the first U.S. patent for the telephone? Alexander Graham Bell. Yes. What Polish composer was known for the poet of the piano? That one I don't know. Oh, Chopin. Okay. I see you, Chopin. What American botanist was born a slave, inventor? Oh, George Washington Carver. And who was the first woman to win a Nobel Prize? Marie Curie. And this looks like something straight out of Monty Python's The Quest for the Holy Grail. I told him we already got one. You know, and that's when the Frenchman told him that he smelled of elderberries and that they threw a cow at him. But all jokes aside, the first one is Joan of Arc. I don't know. I didn't really think of that as Joan of Arc. Alfred the Great is this one on the second. Edward the Woodstock, aka the Black Prince. That was an interesting book. Richard the First, John the First of England. The more you know. And you know what? Marie Antoinette must have been a really, really foxy lady back then. Because that wax figure is really pretty. And we have in the corner a man of short stature, but a military genius. Napoleon and his wife. At least we not forget the man who stabbed Napoleon in the back, Talleyrand. I consider him stabbing Napoleon in the back. And then we have Lafayette. He's hiding in the corner. Again, in real life. Michael Jordan is really, really tall. I'm like down here. And he's up there. But in all seriousness, that's pretty neat. And from right to left, we have Mark Antony, Cleopatra, and Julius Caesar. Nobody ever said anything bad could come of going down a dark alleyway that looks very sketchy. But that's okay if you have Da Vinci behind you. It's just me. Does Leonardo da Vinci kind of look like... Oh shoot. I'm gonna remember his name somehow. Anyway, I can't quite remember. Rembrandt Harmenzoon Rin. Well, he was a Dutch painter, and I can't really pronounce his name, which isn't that good. Then we have Charles I and Antia van Dyck. And Michelangelo, the Italian sculptor. If I'm not mistaken, he did the, no, he didn't do, anyway, I can't think, because I used to know what art piece he did during the Renaissance. And then there's, well, Thomas Gainsborough. And now, we are about to go into one of my favorite parts of this museum. But before we do, well, first and foremost, this is Jekyll and Hyde, but historically there was a story of a man who had a second face on the back of his head. And he complained to the doctors that this face on the back of his head would laugh and cry and talk to him in his sleep. Sadly, the man He committed suicide, but Jekyll, no, Hyde. Jekyll, Hyde. Anyway, let's get. Oh, Andrew Ransom. Now, a fun bit of history about Andrew Ransom is he was, well, he wasn't well known. Anyway, he was a pirate from St. Augustine, and he was being hung from the gallows. The rope snapped, he dropped. A monk saw this, lifted him up, and he was pardoned because it was a sign of divine intervention. He looks kind of scared though. I would be too if I were getting hung. And we have The Mummy, which is like my all-time favorite horror film. And Mr. Freddy Krueger. Now I could say this about Mr. Krueger. It looks like he went to a beach. He went to Ponte Vedra Beach and didn't put on any sunscreen. And it was in the middle of July. And everybody who's from Florida knows what happened. He burnt. Fire bad! Fire bad! Yes. Actually, in all honesty, I do like the Frankenstein character, wax figure. Also a very good story. And The Creature from the Black Lagoon, which again was a famous horror film filmed in Silver Springs, Florida. If anybody did not know. And also part of it was Marine Studios in Marineland, Florida, which was also a very cool tourist attraction. It still is. You can swim with dolphins. It's still neat. And again, right here we have another famous, well, macabre story from St. Augustine. His name is Sam Jackson. He was sentenced to be hung in 1906 for killing his wife, and he took part in an experiment, and that was to let examiners and doctors know how long he remained conscious as he hung there. And it took 14 minutes before he died. I think that's a major reason why hanging has been made illegal in over the last century or so. And actually we have another story, ghostly story from St. Augustine. As you see two corpses hanging in a wall. The missing lovers. It was as a result of, I believe it was either French, well no, either English or either British or Spanish. But the story went that this man was caught cheating. He was buried in the walls. This was not discovered until, I believe, a century later. So, fruit for thought, everyone. Don't have affairs, because you might end up getting buried in a wall. Who was the best-selling solo artist in the history of recorded music? Elvis Presley. And he's just hiding there in the corner, but this is Herman Munster. Only one of the greatest classic TV shows that was ever made. But I have to copy him. And now we have only the greatest movie series that ever came out. Star Wars. We got Yoda. Little Anakin before he burned up on Mustafar and became this guy. And only the most hated character in the Star Wars universe. Jar Jar Binks. And I do like the pose that Darth Vader has right there. He's like, listen here, kids. And C-3PO. Ah, shoot, I forgot that character's name. And of course, little R2-D2. And now let's head out. But before we do that, let's take a look at how these are put together and made. Only you, Johnny Depp. As you see, there's a bunch of faces, makeup. And this is where it all happens. And there is the man who killed all 6 of his wives. And here are all 6 of his wives. And these guys are here to meet me on my way out. Yes. And before we leave, you guys, this statue was put here for a reason. Before this was a drugstore, this building was built on top of the Talamato Cemetery. And the original owners would experience a lot of paranormal activity, stuff being thrown across the room, you name it. So they built this statue to appease what was here. And it kind of worked. Ish. And that, you guys, is the Potter's Wax Museum. Really interesting, very cool. I remember I went back here in October a while back, and oh my god, I just love it. Especially coming from a history buff, you all saw I was making quite a few jokes because I know a lot of the history that goes behind those people. But you guys, if you all come down to the St. Augustine area, take a trip in the Potter's Wax Museum. It is very cool, very interesting, very historically entertaining. I would more than likely go again, and I might. But you guys, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon. That will keep you in the loop on daily content of my life here in the state of Florida. Love you all very much, you guys. Peace.